Welcome to DeChain Daily. We share the best news and stories of the day to keep you informed on cryptocurrency and blockchain industries. Today is June 13th, 2022. This is our first episode, and I'm excited to make it for you. Here we go. So we're going to start off with some of the, we obviously today had a huge fall in Bitcoin prices, very significant. There are several companies that were also affected by the fall. So these are equity companies that are listed on several of the exchanges, like the New York Stock Exchange. So MicroStrategy was down 25.18%. The main reason is because they have a significant portion of their company holdings in Bitcoin, and even more so, two things. Their average Bitcoin price over the last 2 years was about $30,700. We obviously are significantly below that right now in Bitcoin prices. They also have a $205 million loan that is Bitcoin backed. And it's said that the strike price of $21,000 is going to turn into a margin call. So that's made a number of investors very nervous about owning MicroStrategy. That's why the stock was down 25.18% today. You also have, of course, Coinbase, which is the largest centralized exchange in North America, down 11.41%. Marathon Digital down 11.8%. Riot Blockchain down 10%. Bit Digital down 13%. You also have companies like Square and PayPal who have received Bitcoin for payment. They were down 9%, roughly somewhere between 9 and 10%, as was Robinhood. You also had an announcement today. Several outlets were announcing that there were layoffs. BlockFi announced a 20% reduction in headcount today, as did Crypto.com, which announced a 5% reduction in headcount. These two firms are following an earlier announcements from Gemini and Coinbase, who both announced that they'd be having reductions in headcount, layoffs, and would be doing some hiring freezes. In fact, Coinbase also rescinded offers as well, sending some shot to new graduates and people who were looking forward to starting. So just another sign of the current turbulence that we're seeing in the crypto markets. And of course, the news of the day was really about Celsius. Celsius on Sunday announced a withdrawal suspension, mostly due to, or it's speculated that it was due to their position in ST ETH. They have staked ETH in Lido, and so they received this ST ETH token, and that is an indication of them having Ethereum that is locked up for a time period. But when you start having Ethereum withdrawals today, that can create a disconnect between the timing of your ability to offset those withdrawals. So they did end up suspending their withdrawals from the system. They also obviously have a bit of Bitcoin, quite a bit of Bitcoin exposure as well. You can see Nexo, one of their competitors, actually offered to buy out their loans, which also sent a question of whether or not Celsius would be insolvent. So when you can't make withdrawals, obviously it's going to make your customers a bit, and that's an understatement, it's going to make them nervous. And when you look at, several lawyers have looked at the terms and conditions of the Celsius paperwork, and you realize that it actually is well within their within the rights of the contract that the user signed to allow the company to both suspend withdrawals and possibly reallocate assets. And so you can see how much the Celsius token has been down as of late over the last couple of months. We saw it earlier at the beginning of June, trading closer to 80 cents. Today, it was down nearly 20% alone. Next up, we have Binance. Binance in the news today. Binance also worried their investors by announcing a suspension of Bitcoin withdrawals. Thankfully, the suspension only lasted roughly 4 hours. They did issue this statement on Twitter, and reignited or reinitiated withdrawals, or the ability for people to withdraw. Several users also wondered at the time, before it was reinstated, whether we were going to see further withdrawal suspensions across the centralized exchanges, the main ones being Coinbase and Kraken, especially given the news that Celsius had put out. Seeing Binance put this out, have announced a withdrawal suspension, certainly did not make for, that was not good news today. It was certainly a scary moment for the day. There's also been some news, several outlets reporting that older Bitcoin mining rigs are shutting down. BitDeer created this wonderful chart that shows where your average shutdown price would be in Bitcoin on the far right hand, depending on the hardware that you're actually using. So you can see that the Antminer S16 Plus /67, that one actually is already underwater, with the Antminer with the 73T being right behind it, very close. So the others, several of the others, obviously the newer ones are up top. They have a much lower shutdown price, mostly because they are more efficient. And you can also see in the daily profit that the 24-hour profit that they create, that they are more efficient. But the older models likely are already underwater and being shut down. Finally, let's take a look at some pricing today. So we obviously had a nearly 15% drop in Bitcoin. Bitcoin did fall below that price, but it managed to pull up a little bit higher towards the end of the day. Ethereum as well saw lows be below this point. USDC is holding as a stable coin, which makes a number of investors quite happy. But you just see red for the most part across the board in cryptocurrency. So I'm going to wrap up here for today. We'll be back on tomorrow, Monday through Friday. So looking forward to bringing you news that will keep you up to date. Take care.